okay. Since we're on boxing, I just had 2 matches.
Yeah.
I won both of them. I think I injured my rotator cuff and hyperextended my lead elbow. It just goes to show, VR boxing isn't for anyone or everyone. It could also be said to be more dangerous than regular boxing. But,
It could be said that. You could say that if you like.
I say it all the time.
Yeah. It wouldn't necessarily be true, but yeah, you can definitely say it.
It's very true.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Truth is subjective, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if anyone has a problem, I'm going to throw them a VR headset and we will handle this like gentlemen.
Virtual gentlemen.
Virtual gentlemen, yes.
Yeah. I think I've seen that on Pornhub.
Oh.
The virtual gentleman.
Yeah. I'm so over wearing my mask in public now. I used to say, you know what? It doesn't even bother me. I don't know what people are complaining about. But now that it's starting to heat up here,
yeah,
it's the worst fucking thing ever. As soon as I put it on and get out of the car, my face is already just sweating. And
I generally don't mind it. But the thing is, I mean, like when I go to college, I have to wear it for an entire day non-stop. And then it's like, that's annoying. I don't have to at work.
Yeah, I have to wear it for 10 hours at work in front of the ovens, baking. My face.
The ovens don't kill it off anyway.
Yeah, right. How many times I burn my face on those things?
Stop licking them then.
Well, they make fun of me if I lick windows. I just fucking can't win, man.
Ah! John's hungry again.
I got my thumb pretty good the other day. Was it? It must have not been that good because it looks fine now. My staff has some gnarly ass burns on their arms and stuff. One had one in the shape of a crescent moon. It was pretty cool looking.
That's punishment for when they annoy you, is it?
Yeah. I accidentally shoulder check them into the oven as they open it. We have 2 double stacks.
Yeah. Just put your face in here for a second.
Yeah, just 1 second. Just come on. Stop being a bitch.
Todd, you want to roll that? Sweet. Right, this is Yankee and the Brit, and this is our episode 6. We were going to do this episode last week, but in light of Star Wars Day, we decided to keep the Force with us.
Priorities.
So this is our episode on education. We did this due to, we had a question on our video on stereotypes about why people from the UK are perceived to be more intelligent than the US. I mean, I wouldn't call it a perception. I'd call it, stating the obvious. But the question was whether or not it was related to the education system. So, well, part of the question. So we're going to have a look at the comparisons of the education system and see whether that's got any weight to it as an argument for why I'm so much more intelligent than Yankee.
Not cool, bro. All right, so I'll get us started here. I'm just kind of that's kind of dense. I just kind of condensed everything down. So we'll start with some basic information. The U.S. education system here. It's provided in 3 sides: public, private, and home schools. The state governs and sets all overall education standards from kindergarten through 12th grade, which is the last year of high school, and supervise all through a board of regents, state colleges, and universities. So as of 2020, the national education funding here was around $64 billion. So starting off in public, in most schools, our education is divided into 3 levels. We have elementary school, we have middle or junior high, and then we have high school. They usually start around 5 years old. They'll start in kindergarten and they'll graduate high school at around 17 or 18. There is a preschool program for children that could start before kindergarten to help them go along. And it's been getting a little bit better. It's, it's more for kids that have at some kind of disadvantage. They have some type of mental illness or learning disability. So they get them a jump start, learn what they need to work on so that when they actually go into kindergarten, they can cater to those needs, which is something that they didn't do in the past. Like my son, for example, he has a speech impediment, so he has to go in early. He's in preschool right now, and he's taking speech classes along with his regular courses. Then we have the private sector. It's independent in its finances and governance. It's privately owned. They're not administered by a local or state national governments. They typically have a board of governors who are elected independently within that little community. Children who attend these schools may be there because of dissatisfaction with the government funded schools or because of their academic prowess, sometimes even religious backgrounds. These schools have the right to choose who attends and are funded by charging students a tuition. So these elementary and high schools, students or parents have to pay a tuition fee, which goes toward the school. And they are opposed to taxation through government funding. Last, we have the homeschool. So this is pretty short. In the United States, the Supreme Court has ruled that parents have a fundamental right to direct the education of their children. I didn't really delve too deep into this one. I don't know if there's anything's governed as far as the curriculum that has to be taught. I would imagine there's some kind of plan or something that they need to follow, just the basic fundamental. I don't know. And then of course we have our higher education. So that is actually one of the good things about American education is our universities. A lot of students come from around the world to attend. So this is made up of universities, academics, colleges, seminaries, conservatories, and institutes of technology. We also have vocational schools, trade schools, and other career-based colleges that award degrees. So that's kind of what we got going on here in a nutshell.
Well, I'm going to go through a quick explanation, probably not quicker than yours, of how ours. I'm not going to go into too much detail on our stuff because there's a lot of similarities there. But effectively, we have a slightly different system in ours in the age bracketing and the levels of schooling we have. So we've got you can go to nursery school. I don't believe that's actually technically mandatory, but that's available to everyone. So that is the age of 3 to 4 years old. That's usually taken up by parents so they can go to work, basically. Then we've got primary school, which is ages 5 to 11. That's year 1 through 6. You've got secondary school, which is 11 years old to 16 years old, and that's year 7 through 11. And that's all the mandatory we have. So we mandatory wise, you don't have to go into your 17 and 18-year-olds. That's where you go to college. So that's how we boost up our equivalency to get into university. That would be the equivalent to the American system, but that isn't mandatory for anyone at the moment. They have been talking about making it mandatory, but it's supposed to be mandatory a few years ago, but it still hasn't come in for some reason. But funding wise, basically everyone has access to public school. There are private schools which are paid for, but they're pretty rare or fairly rare. And again, it's more of a it's a wealth divide thing. It's there's still a landed gentry sort of side to things where they prefer to send their kids to private school just so it's on the little education thing to say, Mike, this kid went to private school. But it used to be very, very different. We used to have grammar schools and we used to have comprehensive schools, and that was a big social divide. Say 50 years ago, I don't know the time frame to be honest, but that was a big divide between rich and poor. And basically, comprehensive schools were getting kids ready for going into the workplace, industrial sort of workplace, and grammar schools were the rich kids where they'd get their academic education and they go to run the country and run businesses and stuff. So it used to be a very, very large divide, but that has closed with a sort of formalizing of the exam system. So because obviously you have a different system for grading in yours, because you have your grade point averages as well, is how you grade students.
Yeah, so we have our GPA. We also have standardized testing.
Yeah, well, see, we effectively only have your end of year tests, which are your GCSEs now. So in some subjects, your entire school career goes down to 2 exams. when you're 16 years old. And if you fail that exam, you're pretty much done for. That's it. So if you're someone who's particularly intelligent, but you don't exam well in the UK, that's it. You're screwed. You can retake, and people obviously have to quite often, because not necessarily through their own fault, just exam pressure, or not really understanding the requirements that go into taking an exam. And you can take those in like as many times as you like. You take them in November again, January, but once you've left school, you're no longer in that education environment. And quite often, people actually get a worse grade when they attempt to retake their exams. So it's a lot of pressure on students who are in their 15 and 16 years old. The other big thing is we don't have to pass years like you do. So you pass your grades. So 5th grade, if you don't pass it, you get held back, don't you?
Yeah.
We don't really have that. You get moved on. Even if you're falling behind, you carry on moving on up the age system rather than a grade system. So again, once you get to 16, even if you're way behind and you fail all your exams, that's pretty much you done anyway. So you've missed the boat, which isn't very good, really. But yeah, that's just the way the UK is. So it's quite interesting when people think that the UK system's going to be really good. And funnily, I've actually looked at some rankings because I thought I was going to see where the UK education system ranked globally. And actually, on quite a few websites, it ranked number 1 overall, which I couldn't quite understand, because in like maths, science, and English, it ranked in the mid-teens, but yet our education system was being ranked number 1 overall. So I didn't really understand that. But what I'm guessing is that's based on the fact that everybody in the UK has access to education, which a lot of countries that aren't first world countries don't have access to the education system. So I'm guessing that's why it's so highly rated, in that it is completely accessible, no matter your financial situation, any of those, everyone, in fact, is required to go to school. You're forced to go to school. And getting a student out to homeschool them is a hell of an ordeal. They do not want you to homeschool your children. But
I agree with that.
I agree with it as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get the at the end of the day, you have students in different subjects. You have different teachers for different subjects.
Yeah.
In all your subjects, you have a different teacher who's been to university and done that subject, to the nth degree. They know the subject inside and out, teach it to you. So what are the chances that your mother or father is going to know every single one of those subjects in depth enough to be able to teach you to pass your exams? Probably not very likely.
I mean, I could probably pull that off, but that's just me. Continue.
I mean, I could teach anyone anything.
If I
I could teach
homeschooled my
people how to
son,
bullshit. I'm phenomenal at that.
if I homeschooled my son, he would know everything about Batman.
Yeah, he'd
why
know the
the-
important stuff.
Yeah, why the Green Bay Packers are the greatest franchise in sports history.
Yeah.
And why cheese is great.
Why you grate cheese, do you mean?
No.
No. Oh,
Words.
It is interesting because I was talking about how because of this COVID situation, it brought up a very, very peculiar situation where the exams are not able to be taken. And as I said, everything in the UK hinges on your final exams. So what they decided to do is they tried to accumulate all the information from the teachers, and they had to take every single student for that year, and they had to piece together evidence and give them an estimated grade of what they thought they would achieve. And the government decided they were going to come up with a online database system that would accurately grade every student in the UK for that year. And the reason they did it that way, rather than just taking teachers' word for it, is that they didn't want it to be a situation where a teacher was able to say that it was a good D grade student and they wanted them to pass, so they gave them a C grade and tried to slip it through the cracks. They didn't want that to be the case. They wanted students to get accurate grading.
Yeah.
So this caused an absolute uproar in the end because 1 in 10 students were downgraded at random. It decided to randomly downgrade students who may well have been, you could have had a C grade student who was verging on a B, and you could have had a C grade student who was probably actually only going to get a D, but it just did them at random. So that person who could have got a B if they'd taken their exams just got it downgraded. And then they made you pay by the exam to try and go and argue your case for a higher grade. And where this became a real problem was there was a distinct difference between how many students were downgraded from public schools and private schools. The public schools, which are the ones that are non-paid and poor people go to, and in poorer areas, were downgraded at a much, much, much higher rate than the private schools, interestingly.
Go figure.
Yeah, it's very strange. So obviously people were very, very upset about that. And I can't remember all the figures. I tried to look some of them up, but there was at least a 3% discrepancy, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you think it's over tens and tens of thousands of students, 3%, the difference in private school people having their downgrades and public school people having their downgrades, that's obviously thousands of students. So it's quite an obvious sign there. And I believe it was something like in certain areas, they were actually upgraded their results more than they were downgraded. Again, in the richer areas, they actually had a lot of their grades taken up a grade rather, whereas in the poorer areas, they were having them taken down.
Well, they shouldn't have been poor, right? That's what they did.
Yes, it's their own fault for being born.
Hmm.
So, of course, this was scrapped, and in the end, they just took the teacher's word for what was what was going on.
Yeah.
But I don't think the education minister even lost his job for that. I think they managed to
just gave him
argue that
detention.
it was a flaw in the algorithm or something. Someone had put a 1 when it should have been a 0, and it was a complete total accident.
He must have been rich too.
Well, they're all rich. We only have rich politicians. You're only allowed to be a politician if you've been to Eton, which is a private school, it's one of the only universities in all of the UK which has the right to refuse you after doing background checks on you. It doesn't have you don't sign up with a estimated grade like other universities where they say you have to have an A in this,
Yeah.
a B in this, and a B in this to get in for your entry requirements. The entry requirements for Eton are just show us your bank statement, tell us your last name, tell us your parents' wealth status, and then we'll decide whether or not we're going to let you in and whether we're going to let you have the secret handshake and tell you all the secrets.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, then you have the right to become a politician and rule over, represent the people who are not allowed to do such a thing.
Because they're poor.
Because they're poor and they need representing by someone who's more intelligent, and wealth breeds intelligence. Only the wealthy are intelligent enough to rule.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know what they actually teach at Eton. I think it's a bit of I think you have to be signed into a secrecy act to actually go in there.
Yeah. Don't lock eyes with poor people.
Yeah, it's probably a similar sort of curriculum to like what people like Hitler sort of knew. How to divide and conquer, how to use information to radicalize the masses in one direction or the other.
Be charismatic to get followers.
Yeah, keep everyone polarized. So rather than think about how much your money they're taking from you, or you're taking from them, sorry, they're busy thinking about Brexit.
Brexit.
They're concentrating thinking about Brexit. Well, they're laundering your money through Westminster and putting it in their offshore accounts and giving themselves tax-free bonuses. Yeah.
See, that's the kind of thinking we need our politicians to have, though.
Well, that's what you want to put. That's exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that we stay on the bottom rung of society, because otherwise there wouldn't be this hierarchy, which I think is essential.
I quite like it down here. We have street tacos.
It's nice to be able to shoot. That's a good thing. I mean, we can go to McDonald's without any shame.
Yeah,
One of them goes to McDonald's, and it's like,
that's why they send a driver inside and they sit outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not really education based. That's just my own hatred towards Westminster. Speaking of which, we have just had a vote, and it was our regional voting, and the SNP, which is the Scottish National Party, this is the fourth time they've made it into politics. They had a Scottish independence referendum in 2014 because Scotland are on the fence of whether or not to remain in the UK for the reasons I've just laid out about that level of corruption. And basically, they've promised that there will be another, because Scotland voted heavily to remain in the EU. Wales voted to remain in the EU, but London effectively voted to leave, so we left. So part of that, they want another referendum, another independence referendum, because they don't feel that obviously the people's vote was taken into account when they left the EU, because their people wanted to remain. So the SNP were doing incredibly well. The Conservative Party are in power in England at the moment, decided they were going to rally all of the union parties, which left, right, Labour and Conservative, which are supposed to be basic polar enemies. They actually consolidated to try and tactically stop the Scottish National Party getting voted in, so they didn't have a referendum to decide whether or not they leave the UK. And when the SNP were still doing incredibly well because it didn't work, old Bojo, Trump's biggest fan, he decided that he was going to basically threaten the Scottish National Party and say, do not have a referendum vote. It would be wrong to have one because it's not what the people want. And it was like, but if they're heavily voting in the party which has promised them a referendum, isn't that what the people want?
He's the people. That's what you got to
Well,
understand.
that's what he means. He means that's not what Westminster want.
That's not what
because
I
they
want.
like taxing your general populace.
Yeah.
So they don't want that. But yeah, the leader of the SNP has promised, no, there will be a referendum because that's part of the reason people voted for us, which is absolutely bang on. So I'm probably moving to Scotland soon. So if that happens, can't wait for that.
You gonna wear a kilt?
Definitely. Kilt and no underwear.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
You've got to be done.
Yeah.
Show off my haggis. Do you know what haggis is?
Yeah, isn't it like something? It's like a stomach, sheep stomach, isn't it? Stuffed sheep stomachs. Stuffed stomach.
It's basically stuffed with all the little ancillaries which you wouldn't normally eat.
Mm-hmm.
They cram them into a sheep stomach and then cook it up, and it sounds revolting, but I've got to admit it's damn good.
I don't know. I may like it. I always refer to myself as a human garbage disposal, and I'll try anything.
It's really strong flavor.
Yeah,
very strong. It's like game meat. Like I don't know what you'd have that's gamey over there particularly. You don't have like pheasant, do you, or anything over there?
I mean, we do. It's just not something we like. Probably like venison or something.
Like wild boar or something. Venison's closer. That's slightly gamey.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's very, very potent stuff. It's an acquired taste.
Actually, I don't like the chewy of it. Like
it's quite chewy.
Like we eat like intestines down here. We call them tripas.
Yeah.
And they fry them. I can't handle the chewy. I just can't do it. So I probably wouldn't like it.
No, I don't know. But then again, it's such a versatile thing. It just depends who's made it, what they've decided to put in this time. They're always going to be quite different. So it's a generalized term for something that can be very, very different, like a sausage. How different is a salami to regular foot long hot dog.
Bratwurst.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is,
I get it. I mean, I'll give it a shot. Give anything a shot, like I said.
I mean, there's like we got like blood pudding as well. I mean,
Yeah,
whoo-hoo,
I mean, I'll try.
tasty.
I'll try anything once. That's my
That
my tagline when I was going to college. Uh,
was mine in the Blue Oyster Bar as well. I said to some guy who came over to me. I'll try anything once. Yeah, twice if I like it.
That's the thing. Did you leave with a smile on your face, or were you crying?
I was hobbling a bit. I was struggling to walk, to be honest.
Okay,
They wheeled me out.
but were you smiling?
It's more of a grimace, to be honest. But
Oh.
whether you call that a smile or not is a.
All right. Was it worth it?
I won't be going back. But he was a lovely gentleman. You know, he offered to push my stool in for me,
Oh,
and then he did.
you're a nasty man.
In fairness, the homosexual community, male community, have got some great pickup lines for that. They're
Oh, I
much better than
know.
ours.
I've been hit on by gay guys, and
Don't brag.
it's hilarious how forward. Like, I wonder if this is how men are with. I'm pretty sure that's how men are with women. But it's just kind of funny seeing the tables turn and some guy walking up to you and just like being so what's the word I'm looking for? Just like straightforward, like, hey, let's go in the
Yeah.
back and get this done. And I'm like, calm down.
Thing is, at the end of the day, men are more agreeable when it comes to sex. They're a bit more interested in having sex all the time with anyone that will let them.
Yeah.
Women don't need to have that philosophy very often.
No, it just seems like they can go,
And
let's go, and then that's it.
Even the ones that think they do, they don't really. Because if you were walking down the street and you said to a guy, fuck her, and he'd be like, which one? You say that to a girl, fuck him. Oh, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even look most of the time.
She might. Yeah, she might.
Unless, well, if he drives a nice car, then maybe.
Yeah. And then we go back to the rich
I'm just bitter
politicians.
because none of them ever look at me. I need a nice car. Shit.
Yeah, you need to become a politician. You need to get off that bottom rung.
I don't have the family for it. I told you my family are gypsies.
Because then it's not about looks. It's all about the money, baby.
I've got neither. That's the problem.
Well, can you get some? Like
Looks or money.
I'm pretty sure money will get you looks.
Yeah, I don't think
Or
the
looks can get you money too.
So.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't get any money really. I'm trying to win it on the lottery, but it doesn't seem to be working.
I know. I tried as well, but my tactic of trying to win without buying a ticket, not working.
Isn't it? I tried that for a long time, but I'm trying a new tactic now where you buy a ticket. It's still not working. So,
Oof, sounds risky.
yeah, it's just throwing away £2 a week, really. Whereas before I was throwing away nothing.
I think I was behind a guy in line that bought $500 worth of lottery tickets, had them all scanned, and he won like 150.
And how much is the ticket over there?
What's that?
How much is a ticket over there?
It depends on what you're playing. So it could be
Yeah.
from $2 to, I think that might be the most expensive lottery. $2.05 maybe. I don't know. But then there's scratchers. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we got all of them.
Yeah.
No, I don't bother with any of that. I have made some money on Dogcoin though.
Have you?
Yeah, I should have sold before fucking Elon went on Saturday Night Live though. That wanker cost me like $80.
I haven't invested yet.
No, I had some Bitcoin which I bought prior to Brexit because I was concerned that the pound was going to drop really low,
Uh-huh.
and it did. but I made a bit of money on that. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna take it out of Bitcoin because it's only money I've made anyway, and just throw it into Dogecoin. I threw it into Dogecoin, and then it doubled overnight. So I made like a couple of $100, and then Elon went on Saturday Night Live and ruined it for me. Like an absolute prick. I saw that he was going to go on there, but I knew it could go either way. He could have said something that would have made it skyrocket, or he could have made, or as it turned out, he said something that made it plummet. So
yeah. I had a buddy when Bitcoin first started gaining traction was telling me, get on this, like get on it now. And
yeah, so many people told me the same. And
and I was like, I don't know. At that time, I didn't have money to throw away or invest.
You have to have expendable money to be able to invest.
At that time, I didn't. And this guy had an entire room dedicated to mining Bitcoin. He had, it was just wires and towers and shit everywhere. And he was right. He was right.
The only thing is there is supposed to be, they're going to do an official look into the environmental impact of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's using up a hell of a lot of energy running all the computers and systems. So I do think there is a time when it is going to start to dwindle off again.
Yeah.
Once that happens, if they decide the environmental impact is very, very large on it, it could easily start backing off. But I haven't got any real money in it anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But I just hope a lot of people lose a lot of money. Because I'm petty like that.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm like, I need a 100% sure that this is going to gain me money. You know, like it's the stock market. Nothing's
incredibly low risk to the point where there's no risk, and exceedingly high reward. And then maybe I'll go into it.
Yeah. And even then I'm like,
I still could lose. I still could lose.
It was just like when I was dating, you know, like they would all but tell me, if you ask me to be your girlfriend, I will say yes. And I'm like, but what if she doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, I've had women as good as bend over and spread their hindquarters at me, and I'm still too chicken to have a go. Because it's like, but they could say no and then I'll be embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly. But what if they say no? There's that little chance. Yeah. And with my luck, that, you know.
What if they say no and then they hate me and then they'll never talk to me? And then it's like, but then if I don't get to fuck them, do I even want to talk to them? That's all I want.
Because there's no reason to talk to them afterward, really.
No. Once you've got what you want, that's it.
Yes.
So yeah, you might as well take a chance.
Yeah. And that was another episode of Male Chauvinist with John and Nick.
And that was the last episode. So I hope we've enlightened you with our education talk.
I feel like we got nowhere with this one. Yeah.
Then else, I thought it would be, because the whole, is education the reason that people from the UK are more intelligent? From what I can see, the people in the UK aren't more intelligent. They might be, on average, ever so slightly higher IQ, I think, than America, but it's so close, it's not really of any relevance. The only thing I can really think of is purely the accent. The accent makes us sound more intelligent. The only information I could find online basically said there's no real scientific basis behind why people from the UK are considered more intelligent. It's just purely the way we talk. So then,
being the villains in movies, that's all just a lie, you know?
It's all the talk. It's all, but I mean, we're vindictive and very dry, dark sense of humor, which can often be misconstrued. Like sometimes we'll say disrespectful thing towards women and about dating them and how we only want to use them for our bodies, but that's just a dark sense of humor. I mean, I don't tend to say things like that myself.
Yeah, I got a pretty dark sense of humor. I think I mentioned it in another episode, but yeah, people don't get my sense of humor. A lot of people think that I'm a gay heroin addict.
Yeah.
Because of how I joke about it. No track marks, people.
I'm very self-deprecating about my own genitalia. and that can sometimes confuse people. They often think I'm serious, which probably has cost me a few dates in the past. But
I know, right?
if you don't think it's funny, then you don't get to read the braille between my legs.
What does it say?
I think it's dot dash. It's dash dot dash. But when you rub the dot, it tends to get bigger.
Okay.
So I think it says something
So it's
different
like-
then.
So it's like dash, vertical dash, dash.
It's vertical dash down the middle and then two
Yeah,
dots
and
on
then
the
two dash.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah. Which I think means SOS. Save our souls. No, our souls on the other side.
Yeah, that's gotta go. Yeah.
It is interesting because quite a lot of people seem to think that knowledge and intelligence are sort of the same thing, and it's something that bothers me a little bit because I know quite a few people who do this. Basically, they try and bamboozle you with their knowledge of something because it makes them feel intelligent.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, basically, you've just learned something, and you're talking about a specific subject that you know something about to try and make yourself sound intelligent.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I can go and learn a load of factoids about one thing. It doesn't make me more intelligent or less intelligent. It just means that I've gone and learned a load of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic to go and learn things, but don't try and make yourself feel like the big guy because you've learned something in one specific thing.
Well, that's the thing right there. You always got to feel like the big guy. You need that ego boost, as one of my friends would call it. You need to stroke the ego.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to stroke your own ego. You
Yeah.
know?
Have you seen that? There's a graph of confidence versus intelligence.
No.
And basically, it goes up like that. So when you're minimal intelligence, very, very high confidence, and then the higher your intelligence, the less confidence you get until you get to a point where you're obscenely intelligent, and then your confidence level goes back up again. It's people who know that they don't know. But I know there's a hell of a lot of shit that I don't know and would never ever be able to understand.
Yeah.
So my confidence isn't that high in those terms because I know I'm not that smart.
Yeah, there's
Whereas
only
some
a few things that I've had confidence in.
there's
Just
people,
daily walk of life. No.
yeah, there's people who don't even realize how little they know and how little they understand. That makes them so confident because they know their specific thing and they think that's like the end all and be all.
Yeah. Something they like to bring up over and over again too.
Yeah, because it's the only subject they can feel superior to you in.
Yeah.
Then you got those brain train games as well. They're a total con. You can't train your brain to be more intelligent.
Yeah, sharpen your
It doesn't
brain.
work. You just get better at the game. That's all that happens. You start off not doing very well, and then you get better at the game.
You could learn patterns or recognize patterns, or
yeah, you just practice whatever the specific game is. Whereas if you did IQ test after IQ test, as long as they were proper legit IQ tests, you'd get vaguely the same figure every time. It's not, whereas they call them like IQ training and stuff.
yeah. Well, speaking of tests, they have a couple online. This is a little off subject, and because that's what I do apparently. But
Well,
they
this
have
hasn't been very on subject so far, so you might as well.
They have these tests online. They have one to see how close to the spectrum you are.
Oh yeah.
As far as like Downs, and then they have like a gay test, like how gay are you? You know.
Yeah.
I'm actually afraid to take that one. Like I guess there's a whole thing of tests, like personality tests and all that.
I took the STD one. You had to stick it in like the 3.5 mil headphone jack in the side, and it'd tell you have an STD.
Oh well, that's different because the one I took, I had to send a bunch of pictures to some guy in like Saudi
A couple
Arabia.
of samples and stuff, was it?
Well, not even a couple. There were a couple files of samples, just
Bloody hell.
different angles, and they wanted a mustache on it one time. I'm still waiting.
Still waiting on the results.
Yeah,
Maybe it might be inconclusive. You might have to send some more.
That's what happened twice already.
Oh right, okay. Maybe you'll have to go there. and give the samples in person.
I don't have a passport right now.
Ah, yeah, COVID's stopping you.
Yeah. I mean, I got my chip. I mean,
You got your
my
chip, so,
vaccination.
yeah. Vaccine passport. Bleep.
Yeah, scan it. Beep. What
Scan
does that
the chip.
scan? All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. That was Yankee and the Brits' feeble attempt on the education system from the US to the UK. If you liked what you saw, God help you, but go ahead and like, share, make sure to subscribe. Next week, we'll be talking about clickbait.
You go British.
I've rubbing off on me.
Oh, yes, I do that.
All right, guys. Clickbait next episode. Thank you again. Make sure to, if you want to be nice, tell a friend about us. Subscribe. We'll see you next time.